Hello, it's Alex and welcome to Hey Little Thrifter. Today I'm doing a tag video and it is the Briggs Book Tag, and I was tagged by the lovely spine breakers Megan and Sue. I will leave a link to their channel below and I will also link to the original video, and this is based on the Myers-Briggs personality test, which after answering a bunch of questions puts you into one of 16 personality types. I haven't taken the legit Myers-Briggs test, I think you have to pay for that, but I have taken a couple of the free versions that you can find online. And it turns out that my personality type is INFJ, which whenever I've seen it, it always says it's like the rarest personality type, but then I see like tons of people on YouTube with that personality type. I know a couple of other people have commented on that too, and yeah, it's kind of strange, but maybe there's something about BookTube that personality type gravitates towards. Yeah, kind of interesting. I think I'm ever so slightly borderline ISFJ, but I think the most times that I've taken the test I've been INFJ. This tag actually has a question for each possibility of personality types, and I'm just going to be answering the ones that are relevant to mine. So the first one is I for introvert. And the question is, you can be outgoing but need to recharge with some calming solitude. Where is your favourite place to read and unwind? And why is this little oasis where you choose to go? And I don't really have like one particular spot that I read in, but I have a sofa and I have a bed, and those are two of the usual places that I will go to read. And if the weather's nice and warm, then sitting outside is really nice too. But right now it's below freezing outside, so being indoors, somewhere comfy and cosy is perfect for reading. Next up is N for intuition, and the question is, some books are meant to be understood and others are meant to be explored. What book or character stands for an idea that is deeply meaningful to you? And I'm going to go with Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. The book itself I think came at like the right time for me. I read this, it must have been sometime in the early 2000s, and I had read a couple of his other books prior to reading Fight Club. And yeah, Fight Club is definitely one of my favourites of his, and I think it's a bit of a misunderstood book now. Definitely certain groups of people seem to have taken parts of it and just kind of twisted them to be what they want them to be. But I think one of the main messages of the book is the anti-consumerism message, and you know, you are not your job, you are not the car you drive. And it's also about, I think, finding yourself and who you are and what life means to you. You know, it's not just about the things that you own. So the message of not putting emphasis on your material possessions and stuff like that is a great message. And there's also a lot of other stuff going on in the book which I really like too. I think the actual Fight Club aspect of the story can be misconstrued. I think some people just take it to be like a glorification of violence and this like macho thing, but it really isn't. I think it's more about this group of people that come together and it gives them like a freedom. It frees them from their day-to-day life, and I think that's a really important message too. And I just think generally it's a great book and a great film, and he's a really great author. Next question is F for feeling. Not everything needs to be realistic. Where is the fun in a world with limits? Which fantasy world do you find so atmospheric you slip inside and never want to leave? Put simply, a book with good vibes. And yeah, I don't really read a ton of fantasy, so there's not really like a particular world I would choose, but something in a similar vein I guess would be the Point Horror book series. Like that was what I read as a teenager and just has a lot of nostalgic feelings and memories attached, and they're still enjoyable to read now as an adult. So they're the kind of books that are just great to pick up and escape the real world for a little bit and yeah, go into the Point Horror world instead. Next is J for judging, and the question is, all play and no work leads to chaotic disorder and anarchy. How do you structure and balance your reading, booktube and personal life to better use your time? And I don't think I'm alone in saying I don't. Like, I don't have really any kind of set routine or schedule when it comes to reading and booktube, etc. It just happens when it happens, you know, when I have the time to do it and the stars align, basically. I try to read a bit every day. Sometimes I might have the time to sit down for like an hour and read. Sometimes it might just be 5 minutes before bed, and sometimes I don't have any time at all to read. So it just varies, and same with videoing stuff for booktube. It just comes down to when I have the time and the opportunity and everything. So somehow I make it work. Sometimes if I plan ahead, I will film some videos in advance, but typically it's pretty close to when I post them. Sometimes even, you know, the day before or the day of me posting them. So yeah, it just varies, but somehow it seems to be panning out okay so far. And the last question is based on my personality type, which is INFJ, and that's the counsellor. And the question is, yes, we're a bit odd, but we're also filled with intuition and empathy. What is a book you would recommend to a friend having a hard time? And it's kind of a difficult question because I guess it depends who the person is and what they're going through. I definitely wouldn't want to trivialise anything. So it just depends on their taste and their personality and, you know, what would be an enjoyable experience for them. But I guess there are a few options. One would be to return to a book that they've read before and loved. You know, that could be great. They might like picking up something completely new to them, you know, maybe going to a library or a bookstore and just seeing what takes their fancy and taking a chance on something that catches their eye. But if we're just talking about me recommending a book that I really enjoyed and other people might enjoy too, I would go with John Dies at the End by David Wong. This was just such a fun romp. It's, you know, it's got humour, it's got a bit of horror and action and weirdness all around. It was just, yeah, a thoroughly enjoyable and entertaining read. So this is a great book for, yeah, escaping real life for a bit and having a good distraction. So those were all of my answers. I'm going to tag a couple of people. I will tag Carol at Carol Marie Reads. I will tag Vicky at Chapter 32. And I will tag Kayla at On the Fritz. And anyone else that would like to do this too, feel free to consider yourself tagged. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I will see you again in my next video. Bye!